Hi all. Uh, this is the very first session for Novel Access Manager NAM, and in this session, what we are going to do, we are going to learn about the installation and configuration. So this session is mostly for the guys who are first-time user of Novel Access Manager, and they want to see that how to install and how to configure different component of Access Manager like admin console, identity provider, and access gateway. So they can use this video to go through the different installation steps, and I am going to cover very basic configuration because once you get an idea of first we will start with the installation of administrative console, and then we will go for the installation of identity provider, and we will configure identity provider, and later in next session probably we'll install access gateway and configure it. Okay, so first we will take the component called admin console, or we also tell administrator console. So the use of administrator console here in NAM product to configure different devices like identity provider and access provider. So admin console works as a configuration manager, and other than working as a configuration manager, it also works as a uh, fault manager. So if there is some issue with the this identity provider and access gateway, it reports to the admin console. Admin console also work as a SNMP manager. So we have SNMP manager implemented with the NAM. So it works as a SNMP manager there. Uh, but the most important work of admin console is to configure these devices so that these devices can run properly. To start with admin console, what we need a static IP. We need IP address of the DNS server. We need a DNS name for the static IP. So whatever a static IP we have, we should get a DNS name for that, and we should also need to configure. We also need to configure NTP server. We need for demo purpose, we need a virtual box with around 30 GB of hard disk drive and 4 GB of RAM. And in this uh, demo or session, I am I am going to configure administrator console and identity provider on the same box. Okay, so in this deployment, we will configure administrator console and identity provider on the same box. NAM has different kind of deployment. So one of the deployment is the this one which we are going to do. The other different deployment are present in that administrator console, identity provider, and access gateway. All are on a single box. Uh, we have also appliance for access gateway and service for access gateway. So this thing, the mode of deployment I will take in another session. But for this session, just we will uh, use one VM box with 30 GB hard disk drive and 4 GB of RAM, and install access gate administrator console and identity provider on that machine. So after installing that, we will access the admin console, and so whenever you install admin console, by default admin console install e directory with itself, and we call it as a configuration store. So this configuration contains all the configuration which is done on the identity provider and access gateway. We will use one software called GExplorer, which is a good, nice tool which you can use to review the configuration store. So for to start with, what I have done, I have uh, installed a VM box with 30 GB hard disk drive and 4 GB RAM, and I have configured the static IP and DNS name, NTP server name. So I have a box which is installed already with uh, operating system /12, I guess. Yeah, I have installed /12, and now we will start with the deployment of administrator console there. I have already made a video of that. I'll just go through that video in this. Okay. So here you can see this the server which I have installed for administrator console is 151.55.214.96, and its host name is msync3, and its DNS name is msync3.lab.novel.com. Starting my video. Okay, and here you can see I have downloaded the latest Access Manager package. Uh, its version is 4.11.10.32. I'm going to install this one. Okay, so when you run install.sh, it is asking for option for installing administrator console or installing identity server. So what we will do, we will first install administrator console, and after that, once administrator console is installed and then accessible, then we will go for identity server. So I'll select the option 1 here. Okay, these are the licensing term. Just we need to press enter and keep going. Yes, I agree. Okay, here it is asking for whether your administrator console is the primary admin console or secondary admin console. So here, as we are beginning with the administrator console, this administrator console is a primary administrator console. So we will just give a Y. Later we will discuss what is primary admin console, what is secondary administration console. But for the time being, we'll just go with a yes. Okay, once you will give Y for this, it will ask you the user ID of Access Manager. So when you, sorry, administrator, administration console. When you install administration console, you should have an ID to access the administrator console. So here you can give any ID by your choice, but if you just press enter, it will take admin by default. So any option which is in bracket here, it is the default one. If you press enter, that default value will be selected. But it's your choice. You can enter any value here and use it later. Now I will enter password. I am giving password novel, and I have re-entered the password for verification. And now it has started installation. You can see it first install Tomcat related configuration, and then it will start installing the E directory, which is called Novel Access Manager Configuration Store. This process takes some time, so I'll just keep forwarding the video. So here you can see that E directory has been installed. After installation, it need to be configured. So this configuration part is going on. Oops, the video went back. Okay. Now installing iManager, the beautiful GUI of administration console. This is a part of this iManager only. Okay. After that, you are installing the audit server. So these are the different component of admin console. Then it's installing the device manager, configuring the device manager, installing the identity server administration plugin. So you need not do anything. Okay, here you go. So the installation is successful. So you can see the installation is very easy, and it takes very less time to install if you are installing administrator console at first time. Now after installation, you can see here it says that for information regarding this installation, check the log file directory. So this is the directory where all logs file will be installed. Once your administration console is installed, you can use this URL with the user ID admin to access. Okay, now we are going to this folder where all the log file is installed. So here you can see there are the different log files. So if any issue during installation of AC uh, AC, then you can go through these logs to check what is the problem. Okay, so now once your installation is done, you can use a browser and go to this particular URL. You will be able to access the admin console. And here you have to provide the user ID which you have entered during installation. So we have used admin. I type admin here. Okay, here I want to say one thing. Let's go back. Okay, so you can see this line to configure the installations install service log into administration console at https IP address colon 8443. So 8443 is the port on which admin console service is running. So if you install admin console on a box, it by default runs on 8443. But when we install IDP, identity provider, on the same box, admin console changes its ports and it start listening on port 2443 rather than 8443. 8443 is then used by identity provider. Okay, so start the video. Okay, so now you can see here that we are entered and we have not installed any as we have only installed the administration console. There is nothing in uh, this box other than the administration console. So you can see identity server, it is showing as 0, access gateway it is showing as 0, policies showing as 0. So we have just installed AC, but we have not configured any devices here. So if you click on the identity server, you can just see blank page with some options similar with the access gateway. So these are the different things which will configure. So after do a default installation, you can just browse through the different option and see what all things are configured, and take this thing and you can just go to the admin document of Access Manager and see what these things are. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm taking a snapshot of this because I just don't want to lose this information. So I just take a snapshot so that if I make later any session, I can use the same snapshot. So these are the default certificate which is installed when you install admin console. And here I just want to mention that I am using a deployment where we are using admin console as a service and identity provider as a service and access gateway as an appliance. So a service means that you are installing the operating system first and then you are using the software to install the product. Appliance means you just use the ISO and product will be ready. So our appliance comes with the operating system. Advantage of why I am using, because we have a appliance called single box appliance which comes with the operating system. So if you install that, it install operating system, it install access gateway, it install admin console, and install IDP, everything. But what single box do, it also during installation it does lot of configuration by itself. So it gives you a starting point to start using the product. But when you install AC, IDP and AG separately, then you can see there is nothing configured. So if there is nothing configured, we will get a chance to configure everything by ourselves. So it will give a better learning idea, and while configuring IDP and access gateway, we will learn about many things related to those components. Okay, okay. Now what I'll do, I have installed administration console, and as I say, administration console also comes with a E directory. So E directory is also E directory, which is called configuration, is stored here, where all the configuration related to the different devices uh, will be stored. So I'm using a software called J Explorer and see how it looks. It's a very nice tool and it's very easy to access. You have to just click to connect and then give the IP address of your administration console. Port is used 636 is the secure port for Ldap. Let's save this configuration as name sessions underscore AC. Okay, always. So here you can see this is the configuration stored, it's installed when you install only admin console. So you can see this novel, this contains all the configuration related information for this administration console. Okay, so you can see here this admin. We have whenever you create administration console and you have used the user ID called admin, there is a admin user will be created and it will be just below this novel. So to understand this, you can just go through the link which talks about the uh, how the Ldap user stored structure is there. This is basically a tree kind of a structure. So novel, its child is admin, and then inside admin you can have something. So this is kind of tree like a structure. So what I was saying, that if you install admin console, by default one user will be created, which is the admin user, and this admin user you use to either access the admin console and or connect with this Ldap directory or configuration store. So this is the by default, these things will be created on your setup. You can go through these one by one, and you can just click the table editor near HTML view to see what different parameter it contains. So if you go to the Accept Manager container, VCD and root, partition container, and then appliance container. So right now it's just a tree structure, but it doesn't contain much thing. It will start containing once you will install identity provider or access gateway. How we will see now. Now I'm installing identity provider on the same box. This time I'll use the option second. In the same licensing term, it is asking the administrative console user ID, and the same user ID you have to give. I have just forwarded the video to see once the installation will be completed. So here also you can see it's installing the different component of identity provider. Okay, so now it has installed all the component and it is starting the different component of IDP one by one. So it has started JCC, now it is starting IDP. Let me forward the video for a bit. Okay, what is this? Waiting for the component to import into administration service. Okay, so you can see here identity provider is installed. Now this identity provider has to be imported into administration console so that admin console can start managing this device. So this is the import process which is going on. The same happens with the access gateway also. Once you install access gateway, it will import itself with the administration console so that it can be used to configure these components. Okay, so now you can see this installation is done. The same thing, the log is in the temp novel access manager. So if you go to temp novel access manager, okay, so here you can see when we were installing the admin console, the log came here only at this location, and again the IDP logs came into the same location. But it doesn't mean that the log which is created by the administrative console uh, installation is lost. All of those logs will go to this backup directory. So whenever you do a new installation or if you do a upgrade, the logs will not lost. Log will go into the backup directory. All the previous logs will go into the backup directory, and temp novel access manager will contain the latest logs. These are logs of the different component. So if you go to backup, you can see all the admin console related logs are here. So nothing is lost. Okay. So now we are going to again access the. Okay, let's go back. I just missed it. Okay, so here it says that to configure the installed service, log into administration console at https 151 this 8443 nps using the user ID admin. Okay. Oh, okay, so I have used that URL, and when I access this, you can see the port number is changed from 8443 to 2443. Okay, so here you can see identity server, one identity server is there. So one identity server is imported into the administration console, but right now it's not in the configured state.